What's up guys, Mister, and I'm going to be doing my Gurguit deck profile, and yes, it's finally here after vigorous amounts of playtesting. I have finally finished building the deck. So, let's get started. So, the starting Vanguard, we are running Knight of Early Dawn, Quail. What he does is, Generation Break 1, Unite. When he's put him to the soul. If you do, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, search for up to 1 card from among them, call it to Gurguit circle, shuffle your deck, and that unit gets plus 2,000. It's the Unite starter. It's really strong. I really like running him. All in all, like, such a good card. Now, if you guys don't know what Unite does, Unite is activated if you have called 2 cards to the Gurguit circle or Guardian circle during any turn, which means I can also play defensive with Unite. Again, like, such a good card. He's there because he gets you free calls without counterblast, and they also gain power, which means power lines when you're on Scourge Point, etc., like all that good stuff. Yeah, so we run 1. On to the grade 3s. I am running 1, 2, 3, 4 Sunrise Ray Knight Gurguits. Gurguit is the main grade 3. He's pretty self-explanatory. You know, he can guard from the deck with his Generation Break 2, which is really nice. And his Stretch skill also calls things from the top 4, and it gives him plus 2, which is not that bad either. So, you know, main grade 3 with the deck, Gurguit. There we go. Much better. Camera angle. So, yeah. 4 Gurguit. Then I run 3 Dongle. Dongle is a good card because his skill is, when he's called to Gurguit circle, he gets the boost ability until end of turn, which means 10k boosters for life. And also, when you intercept with him, well, sorry, not when you intercept. So it's Generation Break 1 Unite. He gets the intercept ability, and when you intercept with him, he gets 5k shield. So that's not a bad card. Just going to zoom a bit out. There we go. Much better. So, not a bad card. He's pretty good. I like the intercept ability a lot because it's okay when you call him to Gurguit circle and he's not boosting anything, and he can also just make those really awesome power lines, which is really nice. The only downside is that you don't want to be stuck on him. The backup Vanguard you would want to be stuck on if you did get hit with the backup Vanguard is the one Salvation Line Grand Assault Scissors, just in case of that Link Joker matchup and that really rude thing called 7C's Grade 1 Rush. So basically, he just unlocks all your cards. He gets a lot of power if you have unlocked 5 or more, and then he gets a crit and 10k. You know, that's not that bad. They're pretty good. So we are running 8 grade 3s. Blip. Next up for grade 2s, I run 1 Knight of Springs Light Paramore because Paramore is a great card. I love him. But the thing is with Paramore is that he only calls to the same column as he's in. So let's say if I check the top 3 and, you know, let's say that it was black, like let's say it was these 3, you know, and he's Paramore skill, I would have to call it behind him or I call it on top of him. But if I got a booster, that'd be really nice. But if I got, let's say, 3 Gurguits, you know, right, just chilling there in the top 3, that'd be pretty awkward because you can only call them to the same column. That's why I only run him at 1, because his calling skill does restrict him, but he does make up for it with his Unite skill, which is that he gets plus 2,000. So I'm just going to bring the card a bit up here. Hopefully you guys can read it. Yeah. And yes, it is SP. Because why not? 1 Paramore. Then this is the ideal color of the deck. I run 3. Knight of the Remaining Sun, Henriness. Henriness' skill is Counterblast Soul +1. When he's placed on Gurguit circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you search for up to 1 card from among them, call it to Gurguit circle, then put the rest to the bottom of the deck in any order. Then, if you have a Vanguard with Gurguit in its card name, the called unit and this unit get plus 3,000. So that's not a bad card. That's a really strong card. You still get the call, even if you don't have a Vanguard with Gurguit, and you get the plus 3 if you do have the Vanguard with Gurguit. So I think he's one of the really good Glimmerbreath clones, since he doesn't really need a Vanguard with Gurguit to use his on-call skill, just the power skill. So it's not that bad. It's a really strong card. With Scourge Point, I've been able to combo it so he could become he could gain 10k in total, because he would get plus 5 from Scourge Point, plus 2 from the Strat skill or Quell skill, and then plus 3,000 from his own skill, which means he gets plus 10k. Which is really nice, because that way power columns and I get to rush my opponent a lot early on. Next up, speaking of rushing, I run 3 Holy Mage Quills. I bumped it up to 3 because Poil has served it hit me so well. What Poil does is Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1. When he attacks a Vanguard, if he is being boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you search for up to 1 card from among them, call it to Rearguard Circle, then shuffle your deck. So I get either extra attacks or another booster. So let's say I want to zone my Glorious Reigning turn and I need another booster. Poil would be like, oh, you look at that, I gotta call you another booster. Pretty sick, huh? Or if I need another attacker, boom, right there. Like, Poil serves his purpose. Helps me rush my opponent a lot, and it's just really nice to have. Then I run 2 Bullergalls like I did with the my other build. I decided to take him down to 2 because you know, like, he's a good card because he gains the 5k. Though I am thinking about taking a Paramore out for another Bullergall because having a 14k attacker and that can become a 20k column is not that bad. It's actually pretty good. And not to mention the calling is very consistent in this deck. Then I finally run Marcia because Marcia, she's very awesome. She countercharges for you and she has resist, which means no, she can't be locked unless it's by Nebula Crunch, which means it locks columns. She can't be retired unless they can retire the column. And she can't be stunned unless they stun the column, which is really, really useful, which is why I run her at 2. Also because since this deck is counterblast heavy, you want to have as much countercharge engine possible. So those are my grade 2s. My grade 1s, there we go. I run 4 Halo Shield Marks because I'm still running my Halo Shield Marks because I'm going to be realistic here. In my opinion, the Unite Perfect Guard isn't that bad, but at the same time, just in the way I've been playing Gurguit is not consistent because I prefer being able to use Slammy Flare and having a potential 30k shield to a Perfect Guard, right? And also with Gurguit's skill, I can search my cards from the top 4 of my deck and call a Perfect Guard, and call a card from there to Guardian Circle. I just prefer not having to guard from hand and instead just use my deck because all those like glory skills and Diablos get really annoying, and it's nice just to have that Perfect Guard just to help you out. So I run the 4 Halo Shield Marks. You can run Candace or Reprint Mark or Liberator Perfect Guards. It doesn't matter which one you run as long as it's like the Perfect Guard that can guard from deck. Next up, I run 4 Sunshine Knight Jeffrey. Jeffrey is your draw engine of the deck. In my opinion, you need Jeffrey because the deck needs a lot of hand. Like, you don't run draw triggers in your deck, which means you don't have a lot of consistent hand. Your hand gets pretty small, which is why I run Jeffrey, just so you can regenerate your hand, because usually when you're going to go for the kill, you're going to blow out your hand. And then you kind of want to rebuild your hand, so I use Jeffrey because of that. If you don't know what Jeffrey does, his skill is Automatic Generation Break 1 Unite. I put him to the soul at the end of the battle that he boosted. You may pay the cost. If you do, you get to draw a card. Another thing with Jeffrey is that he generates soul really, really fast, which means Gurguit doesn't have a problem with soul anymore, because I run like 10 cards that literally go into the soul. It fixes soul problems too, which is why I run him at 4. And I've seen deck profile other decks that have ran 3 and 2 Jeffrey. In my opinion, I don't agree with that just because you need the hand power, and it's better if you have a consistent hand than you do with not as consistent and you have potential of being killed. Next, I do run the 4 Stride Fodder, just because this is a Stride-based deck, and you need to guarantee your ride onto Gurguit. Unless you're not on Ezel, you pretty much need to guarantee your ride onto Gurguit. Next, finally, I do run 2 Horsa. Horse's skill is Generation Break 1 Unite. When your other unit is placed in Rearguard Circle, choose one of your other units in the same column as this unit is in, and that unit and this unit gain plus 2,000, which means this stacks, and it's not once per turn. Bruno clone, let's go! Whatcha! This is a very strong card. I run him at 2 because I always hit him. Like, it's really weird. With this deck, you will always hit whatever you need. Just like the 1 Paramore and the Marcias and the 2 ofs, you will pretty much hit them all the time. And Horsa, I run him at 2 because I need the room for the Stride Fodder and the Jeffrey. Oh, sorry about that. And I mean, you can literally make more power lines as well with Dongal, since Dongal gains boost. So it's not a big problem running 2, which is why I run 2. But then again, it's just the way I built my deck, and it's super consistent. Finally, for triggers, I run 4 heal triggers, because this is a deck that relies on G-Guardians, and who does not like the 6 damage heal? Next up, I run 6 stand triggers in the form of 4 Jerry. Jerry's skill is continuous, Generation Break 1, Unite. He gets plus 3,000, which means he becomes a 7k beat stick. And after he boosts or attacks, at the end of the battle that he boosts or attacks, you may pay the cost of you put him into the soul and countercharge 1. Again, just that nice countercharge engine. Really nice, really nice. I run him at 4 because you need the 4, because that way you have more consistent countercharge, which means more counterboss for next turn. For the last 2 stand triggers, I actually run 2 catch calls, like my last build. I run catch call because you can fix your calls. Let's say that I call catch call from the deck. I can put him to the bottom of the deck, and if he's placed in, so his skill is, I put him to the bottom of the deck. When he is placed in a rearguard circle from the deck, I may pay the cost. If I do, I look at the top 3 cards of my deck, search for up to 1 card other than Catch Call Liberator, and call it to an open rearguard circle, then shuffle your deck. So he opens up a rearguard circle, and you will usually have other open rearguard circles, which isn't that bad. So I usually just fix my calls with him, and I can trigger Unite off easily, and then he just goes back to the deck. Then I finally run 6 criticals. I finally got my last Gurguit crits, so you run 4 Gurguit crits and 2 Flame of Victories. On to my G units. For G Guardians, I run 3 Slimy Flare. Slimy Flare can pretty much become a 30k to a Perfect Guard Shield, because Slimy Flare's skill is you choose one of your rear guards, you put it to the bottom of the deck. When he's placed in Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, search for up to 1 card from among them, call it to Guardian... Sorry, not 1. Search for up to 2 cards with different grades from among them, call them to separate Guardian Circle... Well, call them to Guardian Circles and then shuffle your deck, as long as they're a different grade. So it says choose up to 2, which means you can choose up to 2, which is not that bad. It's pretty good, pretty good. And I can also search out for my perfect guards, which means, oh, look at that, Halo Shield Mark skill. Ditch a card from my hand. You can't you can't hit. Sorry, Glory skill, but I was called from the deck. Haha. Or Slimy Flare becomes a 30k shield, which isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good, because that way I can just be like, oh, I need a 30k shield, okay, 30k shield, or I need a 25k, okay, I'll have a 25k, or I need a 20k, oh, I have a 20k, done, and I deck them too. Really strong card, I like it a lot. Then I finally run the 1 Rhea, because she's an easy 20k shield, since you will usually have 2 rear guards at the end of the turn, at all times, which means she's an easy 20k shield. So yeah, those are my G Guardians. For regular G units, I run 1 Fast Chase Golden Knight Campbell. I run Campbell because Campbell is there just in case you don't have counterblast to work with, and you just want some on-hit pressure to force cards out of your opponent's hand and bait that PG. Then I run 1 Golden Knight of Incandescence Eberacus. Eberacus is there just so it can help me build a field if I'm on my backup Vanguard for a first turn stride, and I can trigger Unite a lot easier, which is why I run him at 1. I can also build an offensive if I'm on my backup Vanguard. Then I run 1 Golden Dragon Scourge Punch Dragon. This is your first turn stride. What he does is when your unit is placed in rearguard circle from the deck, that unit and this unit both gain 5k, which means this stacks, and the rearguards get 5k, which means it's an easy first turn stride push, which means I can push my opponent to 3, 4, or 5 damage, and I can force out the perfect guards and all that stuff, which is really, really nice. Then I run the 1 Sea Breeze because I'm going to be realistic here. Sea Breeze is there just to punish your opponent for misriding, not riding, or missing the G assist. You got to punish them for it, and you need to have the advantage, which is why I run him. Then I run 2 Golden Dragon Spirit Cross Dragons. Spirit Cross is your field generator, so let's say you're playing against Kagero and your field gets nuked. Spirit Cross, skill, counterblast 2, flip. Oh, look at that, I checked the top 5. Look at that, I have 5 G units face up in the G zone. Okay, I'm just going to call out my G units. Not G units, my units now. I have a field again. Get wrecked. Like, that's what he says, basically. And you can also trigger Unite a lot easier, too. Next up, I finally have 4... Just kidding, I've always had these cards. I run 4 Glorious Reigning Dragon, including the 1 SP. Glorious Reigning is usually your second and third turn stride. So here's what he does. Unite. Counterblast 1 and choose 2 of your units from the rearguard circle and put them to the bottom of the deck. When he attacks the Vanguard, or is it just when he attacks? Gotta clarify it. Nah, it should be... Yeah, when he attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, search for up to the same number of cards face up in your G zone face up, and call them to separate rearguard circles, and then shuffle your deck. Then, if you have called 3 or more, you can soul charge and counter charge. So this is really strong because you also flip another one of him face up, and it just makes you have at least 5 attacks during the turn. And sometimes I won't have a booster or an extra attacker, which is why Quill comes in handy, because I can literally just fix that and then get an attacker or get another booster. That's why I run Quill. Very strong card. He helps you soul charge a lot, and also he pretty much gives you a lot of hand advantage sometimes because you call Jeffries or stuff like that. And also he literally likes to burn your opponent's hand because they're guarding for a lot of they're guarding for at least 5 attacks, which is really useful. Then I run, finally, the 2 Secret Generation Rare Gurguits, because why not run 2 Secret Generation Rare? Gurguit is the finisher of the deck. Gurguit's skill is Generation Break 2 Unite, Counterblast, Soul Blast 2. This unit gets 5,000 for every rearguard you have, and choose up to 5 of your rearguards, and they gain 5k, and it stacks. This is why the deck builds so much soul, because this is not a once per turn restricted card. This is I can spam it and then end you off. I can kill you this turn by my rearguards reaching up to at least 50k. If I use it enough times, right? Like, such a strong card. I love this card a lot. He puts me in a good power play position where either I burn all my opponent's cards and then I kill them off next turn, or I win the game. Which is really why you run 2. You only need to run 2. You don't need to run more than that because that'd be too many. So that is it for my Gurguit deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys click that like button and subscribe to more awesome Gold Paladin content. And Luard, I promise you guys this, it will be coming up when I can actually afford the cards, since I only got 2 Drag Drivers in my mail and 1 Morfessa, and it's just really expensive deck. But I do really enjoy playing it, so it's not that bad. Anyway, the shout out for this deck profile is Team Countercharge. Now, I don't remember if I gave them a shout out, but I'm going to give them another one because I don't remember giving them one. They've been working hard on their videos, and I think that their content is great, so go check them out. I will leave a link to their channel in the link in the description below, so you can go check them out. Now, that is it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, make sure you leave that like and subscribe for more awesome content, and Surreal is signing out.